Hey everybody, Terrence here from Engadget, and this right here, this is Samsung's Galaxy Player 4.0, essentially the Android version of the iPod Touch. Underneath the hood, it's more or less actually a Galaxy S without the phone. You're looking at a 1 GHz single-core Hummingbird processor, 512 mega RAM, all the usual fun stuff, GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, just no cellular connection. One big difference, though, between those devices and the player here is the screen. Whereas those have a Super AMOLED display and their successors, the Galaxy S2, have a Super AMOLED Plus, this is what Samsung is calling a super clear LCD. It's actually quite a nice display in terms of brightness. It's very, very bright. This is with the brightness turned all the way down. And just to give you an idea of how bright that is, here is the iPhone 4 with the brightness turned all the way down. It's quite a big difference. Colors are nice and bright, lots of contrast, everything kind of pops. Our one complaint about the screen is the black levels are not particularly great. They're definitely closer to gray than black. There's a lot of light leaking through. But on the plus side, the viewing angles are pretty amazing on this thing. You can see, there's no color distortion whatsoever. It's a very nice. It's nice, but not spectacular. It's also an 800 by 480 panel, just like that was found on the Galaxy S devices. So at 4 inches, it's not going to win any pixel density competitions. Now, if you want to take a quick look at some of the hardware, this is pretty much a giant chunk of plastic. This is plastic. This back sheet here, this battery cover, plastic. It's not as flimsy or as flexible as some of the covers on the Galaxy S2 devices, but it's not exactly very firm. Underneath the cover here, you've got the removable 1200 milliamp hour battery and a micro SD slot, which is actually kind of nice, especially since this only comes in one size, 8 gigabytes. There's no 16 or 64 gigabyte models, just 8. You have to add everything else with a micro SD card. Also underneath the cover, you can see there's the camera module, which pokes out even with the cover on, and a pair of stereo speakers, which sound pretty horrible, to put it politely. They're tinny, they're distorted, they're not very loud. At about half volume in a quiet room, they might make do for watching the occasional YouTube clip, but we certainly wouldn't suggest you share any music with somebody using them. That camera around back is also borderline useless. It's better than that found on the iPod Touch, which is, its targeted competitor, but at 3.2 megapixels, it's nothing to write home about. Now, turning around on the sides, you've got a power button here and a volume rocker over on the left-hand side, while up top is the headphone jack and the micro USB port, which is hidden behind this little weird sliding door thing. On the software front, you're looking at Gingerbread, Android 2.3.5, and of course, TouchWiz. And this isn't TouchWiz 4.0, which we've seen on Samsung's most recent handsets. This is 3.0, which was on all of last year's devices. We did have some issues, actually, even just with the lock screen. You can see that if you're too quick or you don't get it all the way across, it doesn't necessarily respond very well. There isn't too much going on, not a lot of bloatware or anything on the software front. Samsung did see fit to include an FM radio player, which is nice, though you do need to have headphones plugged in to get a signal, and of course its own Samsung Apps app, which you'll probably never use. They do include their own media players, the music player, which, if it'll open, oddly sort of defaults to this, all of your tracks in an alphabetical view when you open it up, as opposed to opening with artists or albums, so you have to kind of click around for that. And their own video player, which is pretty bare bones, but does allow you to tweak some things like the size of the video, so you can go original size, full screen, or stretch to fill. There's also this virtual 5.1 surround sound option, which as we bump it up, you can hear. It's the speakers are not particularly good, as I stated before. You can sort of hear that. This is one of these things, though, where there's some inconsistencies that bother us in the software. You can hit the back button all you want. In the video player app, you're not going anywhere. You're going to have to hit the home button to actually exit it out. We had a similar issue with the camera app, although I suppose it doesn't matter since you probably won't be using this camera too much anyway. If you want to change the settings or anything like that, you'd assume that you could hit the menu button, but as you can see, it doesn't do anything. You actually have to tap the screen to bring it up. And as said a little earlier, the camera isn't particularly good. At 3.2 megapixels, it doesn't take very good images. They're very noisy. Video's very dark, and the autofocus is very, very slow. I'll try to see if I can show you what I'm talking about here. And see. There. That's how long it took to take a picture. Tap. Focus, focus, focus. There it locks. There it goes. It's very slow. But like I said, the images it captures aren't particularly great. At least we can say for this is that it does have access to the Android market, which is good. So you have all the apps and games you've come to know and love. We just hope that most of them don't require a cell phone connection for you to really enjoy them. So that's it. This is the Samsung Galaxy Player 4.0. Thanks for watching, everybody.